Frankenstein's got a journal, Wolfman has a blog. Swamp Thing tweets from down in his bog. Pete and Nash read it all, and now they're trying to see what's going on with these Vampire Diaries. Hello, welcome to the Vampire Diaries, the Vampire Diaries podcast where a guy who has never seen the show watches the series with a superfan. I am the titular Petey. Let's just say I put the Petey in Vampire. But please call me Pete, and I'm here with my co-host and co-parent, Ash.
Hello.
And you might have already seen the title description. We are not watching Season 1, Episode 10.
What?
This week. We're doing a bonus episode, Ash.
Bonus.
We're taking a break from the Vampire Diaries and doing a quick look at some different vampire-related content.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be a thing that we do every now and then. We're coming up on big episode number 10. So we wanted to take a break real quick and do something different. Mm-hmm. I think in the future we'll maybe do some spooky movies. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll talk about a writing project of mine or two. Maybe we'll do a little reading of a script or something.
Yeah. If you have any ideas, too, about what other little bonus content you want, let us know.
Yeah, for sure. So this week we are discussing a young adult horror novel, Drop Dead Gorgeous. It's a Return to Fear Street book by R.L. Stine.
That's crazy. I was going to make the joke that it was my autobiography.
Oh.
Just kidding. R.L. Stine. Love it.
Yeah, so Ash, I think that maybe I am in the super fan chair this week. I'm a bit of an R.L. Stine... an R.L. Stine...
Stineaholic?
Stineaholic? Steinfeld?
What?
Stein Fiend? R.L.
What's it called when you... R.L. Stan?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, delete all the rest of that. Yeah, I'm a real R.L. Stan.
No, you can't delete it. I came up with the idea.
I know. I'm just kidding. But before I talk about R.L. Stine for probably way too long, what's your R.L. Stine history?
So I have two older brothers, and the brother that's 2.5 years older than me introduced me to Goosebumps.
Ooh.
And Fear Street, and I definitely read quite a few growing up, but I don't think I read them like repeatedly, so I don't have like strong memories of them, of the particular stories. But I remember like the covers. I remember there was like a skiing accident one. There's like a lifeguard one.
Oh yeah.
And then I did reread maybe one or two of them. My senior year of high school, we had like if you took a lot of AP classes, you could have a little prep period, and it was in the library, and exactly in the spot where I sat, right behind me was the R.L. Stine section, and so I just like would grab up one of those books and read them instead of doing my work. Or maybe when I was done, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the Fear Street books in particular had very cool, catchy covers.
Yeah.
Cool, catchy covers.
Cool, catchy covers.
They have like a cool blood-dripping font and throwback sort of 80s style art on the front.
Yeah.
I mean, they are from, I think, the early to mid-90s, so I don't know how much it was a throwback or how much it was just
That's just how it looked.
Current modern-day thing. Yeah, so for me, R.L. Stine, I, of course, started with the Goosebumps books. And in that original run of Goosebumps, I looked it up, there was 62 Goosebumps books.
Wow.
And I think he seriously, like, cranked them out once a month, maybe.
That's
like,
so many books.
Like, and he's done even more since then, more Goosebumps books, Return to Goosebumps, something like that. But of those original 62, like, I believe they were coming out while I was, 10 or a tween or maybe even a young teen. So I would, like, read them as they got them in the library or something like that. I looked on the Wikipedia, and I was like, oh, I remember that one. And I think that I was pretty current with them up until, like, in the 40s of books. So, like, I was like, oh, number 45, yeah, I remember that one. There were ones that, like in the 50s and 60s that I didn't really recognize. But I think I was very current on them.
You probably switched to Fear Street at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I still remember at my library, there was like an end cap of Fear Streets and Christopher Pike. Mm-hmm. And I would be like, did I read this one? Like I would search through the Fear Streets to be like, have I read this one before? Then I graduated to Stephen King.
Yeah.
Then I went to like Bret Easton Ellis. Mm-hmm. So
that's fun. I didn't necessarily get them at the library because my brother had a collection of them. So I would just go in his room, and he had like a hutch on his desk, and they were all out on his desk. And so I would just go into his room and pick one out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, the Goosebumps ones were very cool, fun color combinations. Like one was like red and green, and one was like blue and teal, or
and like purple and teal and like shiny sometimes.
Yeah.
And they also had the show.
The show came a little later. I think I was probably done with Goosebumps by then. But
they were scary.
It was a fun show. It had the theme song that was like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Right? And I haven't re-looked this up. This is just burned into my memory. Yeah, in one shot, there's a dog on a porch, and it kind of looks at the camera, and its eyes get spooky and green. And they changed the theme in that moment to woof, 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 woof.
Oh, they do?
I think so.
Oh, my gosh.
Either I'm having a fever dream, or
you could be delirious retired.
Yes, we are. And then other like R.L. Stine content. They have recently done at least 2 Goosebumps movies with Jack Black, where Jack Black plays a fictionalized R.L. Stine. Yeah. And like the creatures in his books come to life, and like Slappy the dummy is the ringleader, I feel like. I watched part of the first one, and I really should watch the whole thing. And our kids aren't into spooky stuff yet. No. So I very much I hope they get into spooky stuff at some point, and we can watch.
Probably our younger son will get into spooky stuff. I don't know if our older son will ever like it.
No, but that'd be a nice, fun thing to watch with them.
Yeah. And I wouldn't like even to have them read the books.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're great little readers, the Goosebumps. There's like sort of a cliffhanger each chapter. It's like, and then he opened the door and
it definitely makes you binge read.
Oh yeah. Before that was a thing.
But yeah, you're just like, oh, gotta go to the next chapter, gotta keep reading, because keep it going.
And a lot of the time it would just be something kind of like not important. It'd be like, he opened the door and it was his dad.
Yeah, I know, but you're like, what is it gonna be?
Yeah. But they're good. They're definitely you start with the Goosebumps, you age up to the Fear Street.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And so when I saw that there were new Fear Street books coming out, I believe these were published in 2019. There's at least like 3 of them. And
this is the 3rd.
Yeah, so we didn't read them in order.
Yeah.
We've only read the one of the Return to Fear Street.
That's okay.
Oh, it's okay. So we're going to do like a little brief chat about the book. We're not going to get heavy into spoilers. We're not going to go beat by beat like we usually do for a Vampire Diaries episode.
Yeah.
But I wanted to read a little bit about the book, say what it's about, and then I thought that we could do pros and cons. So the gorgeous and the dead, Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Okay.
So just think of like 2 things that were gorgeous about the book and 2 things that were dead about the book.
Okay. What if we agree? I guess that's okay.
No, it's not okay to agree on this podcast. Okay, so let me just...
Well, I meant like, what if we had the same things?
That's fine.
Okay.
We'll do a little high five.
All right.
So this is what it says on the Amazon page and on the back of the book. New and old fans alike will be dying to get their hands on the latest addition to Master of Horror, R.L. Stine's iconic Fear Street series. Morgan Marks is the new girl, and nobody can stop talking about her. She's popular, smart, and beautiful. Everyone wants to be her friend. but her past is veiled in mystery, and no one knows where exactly she came from. Now, Shadyside Homecoming is just around the corner, and Morgan's dark secrets are about to be dug up for all the world to see. And then this was a little bit, I can't remember if this was actually on the back of the book or maybe someone was doing a little, I don't know, a little flair in their writing.
Uh-huh.
These new Fear Street books feature a retro look, perfect for fans of Stranger Things.
Oh.
Like, okay.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So I bought this book because it just seemed like a fun, quick, easy read. I wanted to see what Stine was up to, Stine Stan. And I didn't know it was going to be a vampire story. Okay, so light spoilers ahead. We're not going to get into the ending. There is a twist ending. Spoiler on that there is one. Which I'll talk about that a little bit later. But just looking at... Why are you looking at me?
Because you're talking.
Okay, you're looking at me like rolling your eyes.
No, I'm just waiting.
Okay, I didn't know it was a vampire story when I bought it. So I was like, I'll read this fun little book. We're doing a Vampire Diaries podcast, but I'll read something different, spooky. And then I was like, but this is about vampires too? I was a little disappointed. I didn't know what it was going to be. Maybe like a zombie or a Frankenstein.
Something dead. Well, I actually read the book before you did. And
Yes.
while I was reading it, was also while we've been doing this podcast. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is about vampires. And I want to talk about this on the pod.
Yeah, great
But I
idea.
couldn't tell you because
No.
you hadn't read up to that point, which it tells you very early on.
It's revealed early on, yes.
But anyways, I was waiting I had to read the whole book and then had to wait for Pete to start reading it. And then once he finally found out it was about vampires, I was like, yes, what I've been wanting to tell you this whole time.
Yeah. Who knew?
We didn't know we were going to be doing vampires 100% of our day.
No, we didn't know it. Yeah. So something that you learn pretty early on as well in this book is it's narrated by multiple characters. How do you feel about that? Did you feel like you could get all the pieces of the story? Because something that it does do is sort of it leads up to a cliffhanger with one narrator, and then there's some time jump before the next narrator kind of picks it back up. Usually they backtrack and tell what the other person experienced from their perspective, blah, blah, blah. But did you find that made it easy to read or...
Yeah, I've read several books that have several narrators, and just like this book and all of the other ones that have that, it always takes me a little bit at the beginning of each chapter to be like, okay, wait, who's this person again?
Yeah.
And what are they doing? And then once I reset that point of view, then I'm fine. But I do think both types of books are interesting. Like to read a book that you have lots of different narrators, you get all the different perspectives. But then it's also nice to just get to know one narrator really, really well. So I like both.
Yeah, well, and then there's the omniscient
Yes.
narrator who knows everybody and all their thoughts. And
Yeah, I like that too.
so I thought of some other multiple narrator books / one's a book that I've only seen the movie. So Gone Girl. Light spoilers for Gone Girl. Towards the middle of the movie, there is a vast change in the movie of narrator, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it's super effective in that movie. I really like that movie. I'm assuming that happens in the book.
I read the book. I think it did. I think it does too.
And then a movie that we've mentioned on here before, where it does this in the movie, but also the book does this, The Rules of Attraction by Bret Easton Ellis. In the book, it's more like it's unreliable narrators, sort of. They're these college kids on drugs and in love with each other and stuff like that. And obviously in the movie, you can kind of see at least what the camera is telling you is the truth. But in the book, there's sometimes contradicting stories and contradicting things going on.
Yeah, I think it served this book really well to have multiple narrators.
Yeah.
Especially when you get through to the whole thing.
Yeah, and one thing they didn't shy away from was Like there's one chapter that's narrated by one person, and that's the only time he narrates. Mm-hmm. So Stine jumped to the person that he wanted to get
from.
that angle from.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so a little overview of the book. Basically, it's a friend group in high school. A new girl comes to town. 3 of these dudes, these bro dudes, start a contest to see who can woo her or make out with her or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not the most original plot device.
No. I was like, they're still writing books about this?
Yeah. Well, it seems like Stine might be relying on some tropes, right?
Yeah. Well, he's written a ton of books.
I know. It must be hard to generate original stuff.
Yeah. Even original from his own self.
Yeah. Well, I've been rereading a little Stephen King here and there, and he for sure is like, okay, here's apocalypse with like a plague. Here's apocalypse with like zombies. Here's apocalypse. Like he'll go over the same territory a couple times. Mm-hmm. Okay, so turns out this Morgan Marks is a naughty vamp. And she begins killing people in the town. She starts with this sad stand-up comedian who that's who I was talking about earlier, who has like a sad narration. He's talking about his life.
Yeah.
And it sounds sad. And then those bro dude friends try to seduce her. She begins sucking their necks. A vampire hunter rolls into town. Mm-hmm. And then horror, chaos, suspense until there's sort of like a big climax at the end.
Yeah, and there are some deaths, and they're trying to figure out what's going on in this town, and no one is really suspecting vampires, so it's interesting.
Yeah, and just like in the Vampire Diaries, well, I feel like in the Vampire Diaries, the town is like, no, we know about vampires like pretty soon, and people are kind of like, oh, there are vampires? Okay. Mm-hmm. In this book, there is a bit of material where people are like, what? Vampires?
Yeah.
Which, that's what I would be like, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Any more about character or plot that you want to do?
I'm ready to do the Gorgeous and the Dead.
Okay.
I think that will, like, give us a little bit more to talk about.
Yeah, you want to hit me with a Gorgeous?
Well, the main Gorgeous is the end. It has a great twist.
Okay.
I loved it.
Okay, great. Yeah. And I bet on a second read, we won't spoil it because we are sort of recommending that people read this book,
Yeah, you should read it, definitely.
We won't spoil it, but yeah, twist ending. Yeah. What I was going to say, yeah, a second read, you could be like,
Yeah, it would be interesting. I remember when I finished reading it, I was like, I was sold by the last page of the book. So don't read the last page first. Don't do that.
You hear about people doing that. People are like, I always read the last page.
No. You can read the first page and then decide if it sounds interesting to you, but don't read the last page first. It's never going to make sense, and it's probably going to ruin it.
People are very impatient.
Yeah.
My first Gorgeous is good gore. Yeah. There's some good gore in there, some good description. This vampire isn't your typical person in a suit flying around and like being all suave and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. She's a teen gal.
Yeah.
And it talks about her face getting all scary and her teeth being weird. Mm-hmm. At certain points, she does look very old, which I was happy about that.
Yeah.
That's always my jam.
Another Gorgeous?
Sure.
I like that there's some flashback history type moments.
Mm-hmm.
I like that in the Vampire Diaries also. Mm-hmm. And so I'm always like, if this person's a vampire, like, why? What happened? What's going on here?
Yeah.
I like that.
Another one for me is I thought the narrators' voices were different enough that it was like, okay, this is a group of teens. Mm-hmm. It's not just like, yeah, we're saying it's different narrators, but everything is just read in the same.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I was worried we were going to agree about everything. I I feel like that is a dead for me, where I felt like, especially the guy characters, and they have crazy names, Winks and Zane, and what's the other one? Winks, Zane, and Liam, and then there's 3 girls, Delia, Amber, and Julie, and then also Morgan Marks. I felt like when the guys were narrating, I was just like, well, that's one of those guys. And when the girls were narrating, I was like, well, that's just one of those girls.
Well, then maybe it wasn't the voice for me. Maybe it was the characterization, because I knew Winks was like a big, silly guy, and then one of the guys was a comedian, which more on that later. But yeah, maybe like Julie and Amber, right? Maybe they weren't different enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Touche.
Okay.
Good description of the vampire transformation, like I said. Okay.
Yeah, there was definitely some good suspense too. Like where you're like, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I thought, okay, so here's a gorgeous / dead both for me.
Okay.
So besides the very end, there's a set piece towards the end that I thought they didn't set up well enough.
Okay.
I know that they mention this event that's going to happen very briefly, a couple of times maybe, but then they really ramp up to it only in the last couple of pages. Like when I was like, this event is about to happen, I was looking at some thin pages at the end.
I remember you also were like, did they even mention this before? You asked me.
Yeah, and you were like, yeah, they did. But I don't think they did as much as you think. So this was a great idea for a big ending set piece, and while it was happening, I was like, cool, I really like this.
They could have spent more time on it.
They could have spent more time on it. They could have lived in that for longer.
Yeah.
And if it were a movie, that would be the climax. The
3rd act.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
But in this, it was like 10 pages of like a 300-page book or something. So that was a gorgeous / dead for me. In set piece did not deliver. Interesting twist was another gorgeous for me.
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay. I went on Amazon to read a couple reviews. I would say don't read reviews for this, because somebody's review was just like, here's the twist, I liked it. And they said exactly the twist. I didn't read it ahead of time, thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, come on, reviewer. Their review was 2 sentences long, and it was this is the twist.
This is the main spoiler of the whole thing.
Yeah. But they liked it, but they stole that joy for everyone else.
Amazon needs to delete that.
They should. Any more gorgeous or deads?
I think that's about it.
Okay. As with each episode of the Vampire Diaries, how many fangs would you give the book?
I think I would give it like a 1.75.
Okay. You liked it a lot.
I liked it. I mean, I haven't read a R.L. Stine book in a long time. Like, I haven't read one as an adult even. And it was a quick and easy read, but it was like, I'm also like, oh, well, this is too easy to read at some points. I guess that could be a dead as well. But I think because of the description of the gore, I agree with you, and the twist at the end made me really like it.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a movie, I think they would try and make it PG-13, even though the book has gore in it that would extend it.
And some, like, lots of kissing.
Yeah, but I think they would probably kind of water it down if they were making it into a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would have rated it a 1 if I didn't get to the last page of the book.
Oh, okay.
The last page of the book, like, made it the whole thing for me.
Cool. I did give it a 1. I'm saying 1 fang.
Yeah.
I think that even on the scale of Fear Streets, it didn't blow my mind, you know? Because, like, I couldn't tell you which book it was, and it's been 20 years probably since I read any of these things.
Okay.
But there are just images that I remember from the old Fear Street books Like, I remember this, and I tell Ashley this sometimes. I remember this one where a guy was, like, hitting people in the head with a baseball bat. Like, that's how he killed people. And there's one where, like, this girl fell into a lake with piranhas in it or something. Like,
but you could also be nostalgizing, however you say that. How do you say that?
Nostalgia baiting.
No, I didn't want to say that.
I don't know. Nostalgia, like just romanticizing.
Yeah, you could just be romanticizing it.
I am. Yeah, for sure. But now as a grown man of 30,
you could,
you know, like that.
making it sound like you're even older than you are.
I'm very old. If we take off this ring, see how old I turn. But yeah, it was fun to read. Super easy to read. Some gore, but ultimately like very simple. As we said, like it was borrowing a lot of tropes. Like even American Pie has like the whole woo the girl thing.
Yeah.
And that's from 20 years ago. Okay, how's that doing that? I always do something that I think is funny and Ash hates it, but maybe some weird freak out there likes it too.
I think most of the things you do are funny, but then you also do things that I think are not funny.
Yeah, and I overdo them all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a whole sequence at the end that wasn't built up that much earlier in the book that could have been very cool. Mm-hmm. I probably will read the other Return to Fear Street books.
Yeah, me too, but it also makes me want to go back and like, I want to pick them out by looking at the cover art of them and being like, which one did I think was so fun, and then read that one.
That's what I was going to say. I want to dive back into some of the classics.
Yeah.
Okay, any more R.L. Stine? Okay, hey, I got one more R.L. Stine thing.
What?
Is it Wheel of Fortune? Okay, Wheel of Fortune. Uh-huh. When you're doing the last puzzle, and it's one person.
Oh, yeah.
When it's one person, and they're the winner, right? And they're doing one last showcase, or I don't know, what is it? One last puzzle?
Yeah, the final puzzle or whatever.
You get to pick a couple letters, but Pat and Vanna also give you like 5 letters. And the letters they give you are R, L, S, T, N, and the vowel of E. They're basically almost spelling all the way out R.L. Stine.
I know. I always would read it as R.L. Stine as a kid because my family watched Wheel of Fortune like every night.
Yeah. That makes me wonder which came first. Is R.L. Stine a pen name? Like, did he get it off Wheel of Fortune? Like, what? Well,
I also was thinking about... like he wrote so many books. Do you think he has like ghostwriters?
Ooh, that'd be spooky.
All right, we can leave it at that.
Okay. We'll be back next week with season 1, episode 10 of the Vampire Diaries. The title of the episode is The Turning Point. I didn't read a synopsis or anything, but
you're not allowed to.
But there just was a whole bunch of stuff going down, and now that's the turning point. Are we going to see these locked up vamps in the church basement or whatever?
I don't know.
I mean, I hope we will at some point in this season. Otherwise, it's very weird.
It would be really weird if they were like, then those vampires are just still there on like the series finale.
The title is titillating. But yeah, so we'll be back next week with that. If you hated us talking about this book kind of randomly, keep it to yourself. No, I'm just kidding. You can tell us, I guess. But
be nice.
Yeah, I thought it was fun and a little palate cleanser, and then we'll watch a bunch more episodes of the Vampire Diaries after this.
Yeah.
If you like the Vampire Diaries, or hey, you know what? Maybe we'll get some Stine stans listening to the pod.
That'd be great.
And boost our numbers a little bit.
Also, I would like to get some recommendations from their favorite R.L. Stine books.
Yes. You know, a great podcast that talks about this kind of stuff is called Teen Creeps. And it's 2 ladies from the LA comedy scene. They're like writers in animation and stuff like that. And they read R.L. Stines and Christopher Pikes, and they have really good guests on there.
Yeah, I used to listen to that podcast and I forgot about it. I need to listen to it again.
Yeah, I mean, they do a way better job of what we just did, and they have really great guests. And they read like a whole book every week or whatever. So they're putting in the work. So Teen Creeps, check that.
I'm subscribing right now.
Nice. And, okay. So if you like the Vampire Diaries and or Teen Creeps and or R.L. Stine, or you are a young adult, you should check out my young adult book series, The Happenstances, at tinyurl.com/thehappenstances. Go to the ko-fi.com/high dive publishing page to read some original short stories there, including a spooky story called Pipes. For any questions or concerns, follow me at Peter L. Harmon on Twitter or Instagram. Ash isn't on Twitter, and she's private on Instagram. If you have something to say to her that isn't weird, I'll tell her. Or email thehappenstances@gmail.com. But don't tweet spoilers, or you will get muted, not blocked. I need the follower count. And do you have anything to say before we end super abruptly?
No.